the producer. It's whatever. All right. We were live. We could take Collins. Okay. What did you guys think of yesterday's action?
Wow, last night was the craziest.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, last night was, we watched 27 nothing,
Yeah,
and there was just no way. Like every part of the game was just completely dominated by the Chargers.
I know.
But there's something about the Chargers. They're one of these teams that tank.
Yeah, they're like the
Right?
yeah.
Falcons.
Yeah,
And
they're
they
like you could always count on them to fail. So
They got a
I-
history of this.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't see much of yesterday's game, but I heard that the Chargers lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Well,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say I did not notice, but they had a +5 turnover margin against the Jaguars in the first half. And Trevor Lawrence, I turned away after the halftime, to be honest with you. Wait till the fourth quarter because he threw 4 picks, and while one was not his fault, Asante Samuel Jr. he was just off.
He ate him. He was like ruling him. The one statistic that really popped out to me was that the Chargers were leading the game on every offensive play that they had,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean that's just like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I gotta
gotta
share
say,
this. Out, but we-
I gotta say it's like you really saw Trevor Lawrence, take that next step. You were always wondering like when that was going to happen.
Okay, properly share. I gotta go there. Thing.
But it's crazy. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was throwing as many picks to the other side as he is passes. And then, but I think what's weird is that the Chargers, you wonder why in the world he didn't get more points than field goals, to be honest with you. And normally that shouldn't kill you. But what's weird is in the second half, they didn't even score. The Jaguars outscored the Chargers like 23-3 or something like that. And I still don't get it. I mean, Bosa went meltdown mode in the second half, and yeah, there were some calls that maybe they're kind of iffy, but still. But the Chargers the Jaguars just went alive in the second half, and Doug Pearson turned out to be the right coach for that team. But that play where he got Travis Etienne to get the fourth down conversion was huge. But I thought they were gonna miss that field goal. It looked like at the end. I mean, I was like, oh god, you're gonna miss a field goal like that after getting such close range. But man, the Chargers, Brandon Staley's probably going to get fired at this rate. Honestly.
Yeah, I think the rumor is that even before this game, Staley and Tedesco, I'm sorry, the GM who's been there for 10 years, they've been kind of like wondering how long their future is. And after a game like this, I mean, I don't know.
And it's weird. Some people I've been seeing on another side saying don't fire Staley, but I'm like, guys, the first year, it was his first year with that whole mess with the Raiders. They could have gone to the playoffs. And then this year, I think Rich Eisen's show I saw mentioned that he went for a fourth down in Cleveland where they already had the game or something. And even Keenan Allen tweeted out, what are they doing? And then the whole Mike Williams thing. And now this, I'm sorry. And Staley's supposed to be a defensive coordinator. He was with the Rams, wasn't he? As a defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden your defense melts down like that. I'm like, what is going? After 2 years, I know we have coaches that get fired after a year without giving much of a chance, but after 2 years, I'm sorry, Staley's got to go.
Mm-hmm. I just don't. It's clearly it's not connecting. I mean, it's like the players on that roster are amazing.
Yeah,
they have an amazing roster. They have an amazing offensive line on paper. They have amazing secondary.
Mm-hmm.
But they were getting like eaten alive in that second half. They were just like toying with that defensive line, and those are some names on that line. So I don't know. It's like I've been doing my pool for the Super Bowl, and that's the first one I got because I didn't think that Lawrence was gonna rise to the occasion.
And what's weird, Herbert and him were both making their playoff debuts, but I thought Herbert was taking that step, but but Herbert didn't make some plays either. Like he got sacked too. I mean, but still, the Chargers should. I don't get it. It's really weird. This and this is the third largest comeback in playoff history. These are all wild card games.
Yep. They say it was the third most. Was it the third biggest comeback?
Yeah, behind the Bills comeback over the Oilers in the 90s and the Chiefs losing to the Colts like 10 years ago, I think it was.
Right. Sure.
Yeah. still, the Chargers really. It's like I don't know how long it's been, but they've been like with Philip Rivers and Marty Schottenheimer and LaDainian Tomlinson. This is even worse, and I can never feel like it's Justin Herbert going to want to leave soon, and like at this rate, I would start thinking he wants to leave before his contract ends with the Chargers.
Yeah. There's just a huge dysfunction. I really don't follow the team enough to really give you a lot of details, but just from watching that, you could just tell it's just not connecting.
No, and oh man, Mike, you know what? Mike Williams is probably glad they didn't win because they will have gone to the Chiefs, and I'll be honest with you, I don't trust them against the Chiefs any more than any other team. But oh man, but hey, kudos to the Jaguars. I mean,
so can the Jaguars do it to the Chiefs?
That's what I'm wondering. But I mean, I can't say they will, but after what we've seen this whole season, especially when the Chiefs lose to the Colts earlier this season, I wouldn't be surprised at this rate because the Chiefs did lose to the Bengals last season, which no one expected the Bengals to all of a sudden, But I can't rule it past the Jaguars, but the Jaguars could make it competitive, I think.
Doug Peterson against
Andy Reid.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
totally anybody watching this, they have a call-in number, and anybody can call in and discuss this.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just I do see a route now for the Jaguars. The Jaguars are psyched.
Mm-hmm.
They are like, there's two teams that have these it factors going on, and I didn't know about it till last night with the Jaguars, and of course the whole DeMar Hamlin thing with the Buffalo.
Yeah,
that's right.
Like I'm actually saying Cincinnati goes all the way. That's my call.
Yeah.
That's how I've called it. But
yeah, I'd say them or the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But the 49ers might be like, they might be feeling it and go, yeah, it's our year.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about that game yesterday. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we read about it later that the team was like irate about what they did to Deebo Samuels.
Yeah.
But like I probably like you, I was watching the game. It was 17-16 or something. Yeah. And then I walked away for dinner and it was 41.
I know.
23 or whatever. Yeah.
I know. I think that strip sack on Geno Smith made it likely for it because I did see some of the game. I was surprised how the Seahawks kept it close, but then in that play in the third quarter near the end, it was like, oh, okay, now it's changed momentum. And Brock Purdy, let's be honest, I mean, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing for that team's offense. He's not asked to do much, but he's bigger than Jimmy G, obviously, because I don't think Jimmy G would have done that QB sneak in the goal line. I don't think he would have.
Right. No, there's something it's also, Brock Purdy, again, the word I used before that, it factor. It's like, you don't know how far he could take this.
I know. He was the last pick of the draft. I did not even know that until he was named the starter.
Yeah, it's just an incredible story. I mean, the acquisition of Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, that was big.
And that, Deebo Samuel back and that defense with Bosa, like we were talking about. We were talking about the other Bosa, actually. We were talking about the Chargers. But, I mean, that is such a stacked team. I mean, the 49ers could go all the way.
Yeah, I know. They got the defense. They sure as hell got the defense. They got Kittle, Samuel, and Ayuk. I mean, I don't know which team can possibly face the 49ers like that. I mean, I mean, they could beat the Vikings, no doubt. They could beat the Vikings. They could beat the Cowboys, actually, if they face the Cowboys or the Bucks. But they could probably slow down the Eagles at the very least because the Eagles' offense has been, is pick your poison, but they could counter the Eagles' offense too. They got the defense that can challenge it. Now, when it comes to the offense, sure, they got enough, but it's always got to be about Purdy. Can he? I mean, okay, I think we answered the question of how he'll do in the playoff game in general. He wasn't shying away from it. So again, how much longer can it continue is just a question.
There's a couple of these guys who come out of college, like they're not really great quarterbacks, but they're great leaders. Gardner Minshew comes to mind. Maybe he's not a great quarterback, but somehow, you kind of win with a guy like that because he's got that fiery thing in the huddle and all
Mhm.
that kind of thing. And I think Purdy's kind of like one of those players. I remember watching him in college, and he just had this incredible command of the game,
Mhm.
and he set every record at his school. So it wasn't like he was an unknown. But it is pretty amazing that he waited till he went till the last pick in the draft.
Where did you go to school?
I confused if it's Iowa or Iowa State. I think it's
Okay.
Iowa. Yeah, I get those two schools confused a lot. But there is no reason. Like, I'm thinking that it's San Francisco and the Eagles who are the last two teams left standing in the NFC.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I agree on that 100%. I'm just tweeting out. I'm tweeting out. So
yeah, I really think that's like a great
matchup.
It's a great matchup, and I think you can't stop Hurts.
No,
I mean, Hurts is I mean, I just I know that they had a little they started 11-0, and everyone thinks they're going to win all their games, but trust me, they're at the right place at the right time. Now, can I bring up a team that's right place, right time? Is the New York Giants.
Oh.
I have never seen a team peak at the right time. They were like kind of good at the beginning of the season, right? They won all these kind of dodgy games, and then they fell apart. And I'm looking at this game today. They're going back to Minnesota. They lost in Minnesota on a 61-yard field goal. That's not going to happen again.
No.
It's not going to happen again. And I just think that they've got like that moxie right now. They've got like that chip on their shoulder. I mean, it's all about Daniel Jones in the game, of course. But I could see them I could see that being the shocking game today.
But is it really an upset if the Giants beat the Vikings? I really don't.
I think anybody beating the Vikings is not an upset. Honestly, because the Vikings are another one of these Chargers kind of teams.
I know they got the worst scoring differential for a team with a 10+ wins. How is that possible?
Yeah. And they have a rookie coach. I mean, there's a lot of things. Well, so do the Giants, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm so impressed with the Giants coach.
Dabo should be coach of the year.
He's a great coach. But it might not be the upset today. The upset, if the Giants don't cause the upset, I think Tampa Bay is causing the upset. If they
I like your
it's going to be one or the other. So if the Giants are like, well, the same thing happened. What can you do? They don't have the most amount of offensive people to throw to. Right. That's why
they might have the worst receiving core in the league.
Right. So if it doesn't happen, it won't be the end of the line. They made it to the playoffs, right? It'd be worse if it's like they're sitting home. This sucks, and they got that new coach. This is the worst, right?
But the Cowboys, they're kind of like the Chargers. They always short circuit during the playoffs. So I can't really call it an upset, but maybe it's closer to an upset than the Giants.
In a sense, it's an upset. Everybody's saying he's over the hill. He's a 45-year-old quarterback. He can't do it anymore. If he causes the upset, let's say hypothetically the Giants don't cause it, even though I think they might, right?
Yeah.
It's not like we're Giants fans. They're gonna do it. That could happen, or the pros, like the guy that runs this network, Arrow, or the producer Speedy Petey could be right, or their friend Derek, who's a professional too, that they do play-by-play with that they do picks with every week. Could be 100% right, but they could be 100% wrong and the Giants cause it, or they could be wrong about Tampa Bay too. But it's not going to be both. It's going to be one or the other.
I'm going Buffalo, Giants, Cowboys today.
I'm definitely going Buffalo, Giants, but for picks, probably Minnesota. But I'll root for Giants, sure. And I'm definitely going. I'm going to say go out on a whim and go Tampa Bay.
Again, how do you go against Tom Brady? I mean,
you just can't. You just can't.
I mean, that's a fool's bet.
But Cowboys could pull it off. I've seen them win. Sure, their defense haven't been that strong lately.
Yeah, I could see the Bucs winning it because the Cowboys, after that game against the Commanders, you don't have much hope for it, especially when they had a chance to win the division too, possibly. But
it's in Dallas, right?
Yeah, it's in Dallas, but they've lost remember last year,
Mm.
okay, when he made that stupid QB drop where he honestly should have lost more against the 49ers and the quarterback with Jimmy
True.
G.
That's the 49ers. This is Tampa Bay, a team that pretty much squeaked into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true. The NFC South was awful.
Right.
It's
Imagine if they were in
actually-
any other division, they'd be
Mhm.
like, "Oh, sorry, you're not making it, Tampa Bay. Goodbye. You're sitting at home during the playoffs." Any other division.
Mm-hmm.
How
True,
many
you could
games?
say that.
How many games this season did you see Tampa Bay like losing like 14-3 going into the fourth quarter? And with the
easily
game?
2 of them. I could think of 2 of them easily.
Yeah. He is a
The
fourth
Saints
quarter
won.
guy.
Right.
A lot of people are. Like the fourth quarter, they come alive. Eli Manning used to be that way. It's like
Mhm.
Giants are still down. It's 10 points. Manning, it's the fourth quarter.
Oh, the Rams
And
one.
they
I
win by
remember.
they win by touchdown, or
Yeah.
it's the final field goal, 10 seconds to go. Boom.
The Rams one I remember earlier this season. The Rams gave too much time for Brady, but they were winning, and then the Bucks came back against that, and then the Saints won. I mean, geez. But yeah, I'm like you guys. I'm pretty much going Buffalo. I think Vikings I'll go, but I'll also go with the Bucks because you can't really go against Tom Brady. But I'll be honest, if Tom Brady loses, there's gonna be more questions about him going to another team because I already saw somewhere that the Raiders may look at him, the 49ers may look at him of all teams, which I don't get at all.
Guys, I'm now looking at the Facebook chat because I don't want they have a fan base in there, and I'm looking at Jeff and Snug. All right. Hey, guys. They're saying that Zach Wilson was a better prospect than Trevor Lawrence. That's Jeff. Jeff is a regular caller into his show. Right.
Was
I root for the gangrene. It's a very like horrible existence in many ways.
Oh gosh, but Jets.
But don't tell me that Zach is better than.
Yeah, I never heard that. Where did
that is a Patriots fan stating that. Okay,
good luck with Mac Jones, man.
Yeah, that's a troll right there. But seriously, Zach Wilson.
No, Jeff is not a troll. Jeff is a regular caller that is very knowledgeable, and he's always in line ahead of me. But sometimes I get in there before him.
Yes.
But here's the thing. Zach Wilson just popped out of the blue during that pre-draft thing. He wasn't even talked about major. It was Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, but Zach Wilson, for whatever reason, became such a hit with the Jets. And, well, now look what happened. The Jets could have gone Trevor Lawrence at number 1 if they didn't beat that Raiders team a couple of years ago.
Imagine what they could have gotten for that number 2 pick and held on to Darnold. I mean, that's a bad call.
I don't have my phones hooked up this.
Yeah.
I don't know what the phone number is, guys. I think I'm on my own this week, talking to you guys on Facebook. So I don't know if Speedy Petey isn't even here. So I don't know. So I have no idea. So I think they pick it up. They like what they see. They pick it up, and we're in business. Then you guys might be able to call in. But I am looking at your comments, so it's not like I'm not paying attention to you. I'm trying to give you.
Let me ask your opinion, guys. Is Brady still a top 12, top 15 quarterback?
Borderline-ish maybe after this regular season. I think he's borderline top 15. I mean, he is 46 years old, I think.
Let's see how far he gets. I mean, he might be able to say Tom Brady was able to survive for one game, shut the Cowboys down. It was down to the wire, and they won by field goal. Or that he scored a touchdown last minute, won by 3 points. Right.
The Brady thing is so amazing to me because you look at these quarterbacks like, Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. They've just mailed it, get their contract, and they mail it in. They are like an embarrassment, but they earn the right because you paid them so much friggin' money. It's like what kind of decision is it to give $250 million in 3
I would say
that
they're saying, how dare that guy call us trolls? They're not. These people are here every single show. I'm in the crowd with them. They're regular fans.
Good. No, I like it. I mean, I think we were talking about is that about the Patriot fan?
The Zach Wilson thing, yeah.
No, I don't think Snug. There's 2 people in the crowd. So there's Jeff, the Patriot fan, Jeff Steinberg, and Snug the Cat. So,
I got to, I was around when Belichick was an assistant to Parcells. I mean, I remember all that stuff. I was around, I was there when he handed the piece of paper and said, "I hereby resign as HC of the NYJ."
Wow.
So
historic moment in football history.
That was one of the weirdest things I'd ever been to. Because literally the president had to go out and field these questions out of nowhere. But let me tell you, that guy, as much as there's hate on the other side a little bit, that is the best coach in the history of the league. And the fact that team with that lineup this year was able to be one game out of the playoffs is really impressive. I mean, I don't know if I liked Mac Jones coming out of college. I definitely had him up there, but I think he's regressing there.
Yeah,
I think who is it? Matt Patricia was there?
Yeah, why the hell did you hire him as OC? That never made sense.
Yeah. No, you hire a defensive guru as your offensive coach, and you back him up with Joe Judge.
Yeah, of all people, oh my lord!
I mean, that's the guy you're putting. You're defending this.
Yeah.
The one thing about Zach Wilson is a similar thing. I don't know if you heard. I mean, we know that LaFleur was recently replaced. Stepped down as the OC. But he had to step down the minute he said, "Oh yeah, we kind of messed up. We should have had a veteran quarterback the past 2 years." I mean, you should lose your job right there.
Definitely, you just lost it.
That's your job. It's like, hello. So the Zach Wilson stuff. Actually, while I was watching a lot of the Chargers game, I'm watching their quarterback do their same sidearm passes as Zach Wilson. These guys are like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", and they're throwing sidearm passes.
Yep.
I just don't get it. I mean, what is it? What are you reinventing the game here? I mean, it's like sometimes you could throw it under. I get why you do a sidearm throw every once in a while. But I mean, that's a loser's game. And I just don't. And maybe that says it. Why we were just talking about.
Speaking of that, the Chargers should fire that Lombardi guy, shouldn't they? That's another OC you should get rid of. Because how the hell do you have Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler, who was doing okay actually when I got to watch some of that game? You have all this talent on those positions, and yet you don't get any more than field goals. They only scored 2 touchdowns that whole game, right? Or 3 touchdowns maybe. But you should have gotten more touchdowns when you have great field position against the Jaguars, especially when that Jaguars player got that ball knocked off his head during that punt.
That was a field goal, right? That was a
I
field
goal. I put the link in a sports Discord. So there you go. They have an NFL talk section. I'm like, oh, that's the perfect place to put a link.
When I kept hearing them talking about the greatness of Dicker the kicker during the game, I'm like, this guy's going to blow a kick at the end of the game. You just
and
knew
he did.
Yeah.
A 40-yarder. He made a 50-yarder earlier, which is so weird. When you see a player make 50-some yards and then miss a 40-yard some field goal, I don't get that. How does that happen?
And that is a very easy field to play in.
Yeah.
That's not like there's no elements
that
you're battling or anything.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. And can
you see
imagine
the people? Did they have a pool at the Jaguars games?
I did want to say something. I agree with Snug the Cat. Tom Brady is good enough to win a playoff game, not good enough at this point. Not enough to get you to the Super Bowl. Nah.
I don't disagree. I mean, but then again, it's Tom friggin' Brady. I mean,
that's true. But our YouTube audience is empty at this time. But I did send it to several servers, so that may be something that isn't empty in 10, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Right.
I find this I was really down on the league a couple of years ago. They just a lot of stuff they were doing, but the league's I think the league's in a really good place right now. I think the commissioner is not the awful guy he was. I mean, he tries to do the right thing. He gets involved in a lot of political things to try to work for equality and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it's corporate woke, but still.
Thank you, Snug the Cat. He says, "I'm the man." He loves the show. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, we love the show. I'm enjoying myself here.
I'm giving him a like on that.
I think this is an exciting playoffs.
Yeah.
And I think this is a really exciting playoffs. As I said, I went through this through the how everything could break down, and it's like every game is hard to pick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if I mean, maybe I'm going out on a limb saying that the Buffalo Miami game's not hard to pick.
Yeah, it's definitely not hard to pick. Buffalo's going to kill it, man. I'd say Buffalo's going to win by at least 15 points.
Miami has no shot. They don't even have Tua, who's been. I'm sorry, Tua. You better think about retiring early. To be honest with you,
I don't think it's.
I heard what I heard. What was really interesting was one of these NFL insiders was saying that he didn't want to compare it to the Colin Kaepernick thing in terms of what was going on, but it's a very similar thing with Tua that the league is going to agree not to sign him. He may never play another game because what are you going to do? Keep bringing him out there and him find another doctor and let him have another concussion and so I don't. They brought in that guy McDaniel to be the coach, and he did a really good job with Tua. But it's really interesting, you watch the NFL for years, and it was always your quarterback has to be 6'5" so he can take the hits. And then everybody got really cute and started getting these smaller quarterbacks, and they're all getting hit. They're all really getting hurt. I mean, Kyler Murray is really hurt. All these guys are. They're getting wiped on the floor because they're too small.
Didn't Hurts get hurt?
Yeah, but he's like a runner. You know what I'm saying? It's like
he's like something.
Well, right? He's young. He's young and doesn't understand that. You keep on doing that, you'll get hit.
But at least Jalen Hurts is like.
He'll learn one day. When he gets hit, okay, you should just stand there, throw the ball, and sit down, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but at least Jalen Hurts is like 6'2". Mahomes is like 6'5". Josh Allen's like 6'6".
Yeah.
And Lamar Jackson,
short guys that shouldn't be runners.
What's up with Lamar Jackson, guys?
He's out again, man, with a knee injury, I think.
Is this like waiting around to sign a contract or something?
I never really thought that, but it makes kind of sense because he was hot starting the season. Then he just trailed off for whatever reason, and then he comes back, but then he gets injured. But oh boy, I never trusted I did not trust the Ravens after they kept blowing big leads, and the defense, they say they're getting better, but I don't trust that defense. And especially when you don't have Lamar Jackson, you don't have any offensive skill positions.
I don't see Baltimore
Is
winning,
Huntley hurt as well for this game?
I think he may wait, isn't there I think he may be hurt too. He's questionable.
Yeah, I think I what I had heard was that he's questionable.
Yeah.
Which brings you to this Anthony Brown, who they called out last week. Well, I don't even know who he is, to be honest.
If the Bengals,
I can see that. I can see Baltimore not winning. I think they're going to lose by more than a touchdown.
If more than wait, you guys, okay, you said more than a touchdown. Okay, I thought you were going to say something else. But if the Bengals don't beat the Ravens, I'm sorry, you're going to clown the Bengals like crazy. But the only way are the Bengals going to lose to the Ravens team, even though they just played them last week.
Yeah, I just think Cincinnati is the team to watch out for. They were in the Super Bowl last year. They got a taste of it. Burrow is undeniable. Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon,
Higgins.
And boy, Higgins.
Oh my God. Did you not think the Bengals were going to? After the first few games, I was thinking, are the Bengals the latest team to not make it back to the Super Bowl after losing it? But they came back. They rebounded. And granted, that whole situation with Buffalo was such a freakish thing. But Cincy, I'll be honest, they got a good enough defense. They could face the 49ers in the Super Bowl possibly.
Yeah, so I have them in the Super Bowl against Philadelphia. That's how I have it.
That'll be an interesting matchup. But man, Cincy, they're like you said, they are really motivated. They want to they beat Kansas City in Kansas City last season, which I honestly didn't think happened, but they did it. And they could beat Buffalo in Buffalo. They're in the right situation, like you were saying. They're an outdoor team. They could play in the cold weather. They got a heck of an offense with any receiver. They actually got a deep enough running back group, actually. Perrine and Mixon, that is a two-headed running back team that you could say, and one of them can catch the ball too. And the O-line, we were questioning about the O-line, but they're protecting Burrow enough. Mm-hmm. That's been the big problem with Burrow. They won in spite of him getting whacked every single playoff game. This time, they're much more capable. And the defense is still pretty nasty, even though they got Eli Apple, I think, still on that team. But
who's their defensive end?
Didn't Eli Apple win a championship with the Giants?
Is it Trey Hendrickson? Is that his name?
Oh, Hendrickson. Yeah, I think it's Hendrickson. Okay. Yeah, you're talking about Hendrickson.
I mean, that guy's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, and I also see a lot of similarities. You mentioned Buffalo, and it's like there's a lot of similarities between Buffalo and Cincinnati. Those teams are kind of like built similarly.
Congratulations. We have our first YouTuber. They're not chatting. They're not typing, but they're there. They're listening. Mm-hmm. But sometimes people watch without chatting.
Yeah. But Buffalo, they have some weird moments. Like Josh Allen's been throwing red zone interceptions. That makes me go, wait, why are you throwing? I'll bring up the Minnesota game. I got to see some of that, and I missed the part where he had a fumble in the end zone. I'm like, and then he throws a pick when they were marching down the field to win the game in overtime. I'm like, and against the Jets and the Dolphins, or no, not Dolphins, the Patriots, in the last game against the Patriots, he throws interceptions in the red zone. I'm like, what's going on with Josh Allen? I mean, his rookie year, they talked about him struggling, but he's tried to avoid that. But I don't know, Buffalo, for whatever reason, they've had some weird moments of self-destruction. And the defense for Buffalo, they did lose Von Miller, who I'll admit, he is older, and for a defensive lineman type, you're more likely to degrade faster physically. But the running game, I've always questioned about Buffalo, but their running game has been okay-ish the last few games. But I would trust Cincy a little bit more, just because he don't, like, even if they do have moments of like, what the F moments, I think Cincy can recover better than Buffalo can. And Buffalo is just... I don't know.
You brought up a really good point. It's like we all know why Buffalo is good, but that quarterback, I mean, I know I've seen his great plays, but he is like makes some really numbnuts plays.
Yeah.
Man. And a lot of them. I mean, the Jets full on beat them because of his plays. It wasn't like the Jets dominated. It was like the Buffalo's quarterback was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So I am not like I get trashed for this, but I am not sold on Josh Allen as like the best quarterback in the league.
Well, would you say it's Mahomes and Burrow that are above him?
I think Burrow reminds me almost of Joe Namath. He's got like this swagger. He's like,
yeah, he does.
When they ask him questions like, "How big is the window for you guys to win?" It's like, as long as I'm here.
Oh, yeah, he wants to stay in Cincy, though. I think I saw that headline. He wants to stay in Cincy. And plus, he is a Cincy kid, but hey, he wants to stay there. I can't, more power to him, especially when he's the man in Cincinnati, basically.
Mm-hmm. He's unstoppable. I mean, he's real. Like, I haven't seen him have a trash game this year.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah. Well, except Cleveland, maybe. That game without Jamar Chase, but that was a divisional rivalry. Those teams can be fluky-ish at times, but yeah, Cleveland, they're not bad, but they just are so...
They're Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's like there's certain teams, it's like the Jets, or the Browns, the Lions. They're always they might improve, but they don't quite get there.
Oh, Lions, I hope get better next season. I really do.
They're an exciting team. They're an exciting team for sure. But I'm just saying, it's like they've got these curses, these teams.
Yeah. Falcons. Look at the Falcons. Ever since that Super Bowl meltdown, it's like they've been downhill for.
Weren't they in that Super Bowl? Weren't they barking at halftime?
Probably,
to the New England Patriots, go and see you at Disneyland.
Like I don't remember that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but that's also what the Patriots did to rile up the Giants. Michael Strahan got so pissed off when he heard that. On the line that was their comeback in that particular Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
So and like again, we were talking earlier about how San Francisco was fired up yesterday by the dirty shot.
Yeah, it was dirty by the Seahawks, and luckily it wasn't that Tariq Woolen guy because he seems like an okay dude.
Mm-hmm.
But why would you drag on the leg of a guy after you tackled him? I don't understand that. That was uncalled for. And
You
no
see how
wonder why they
important
identified
this
your book
show
out.
is? I'm missing Michael Strahan's show with
Hmm.
Terry and all those guys and Howie. Right.
That's you know what? That's a really good show, but I find it hard to watch because they have too many people up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CBS at least has one less person.
Half the
Yeah.
time I find the whole hour hard to watch, but the other half I'm like, you know what? I think I could stick with these guys for an hour.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'll be honest though, I was surprised to know that Terry Bradshaw had to deal with cancer during the year. That one was a shocker, kind
hear
of.
that.
I did not know that. Find out that
I thought
now.
they did.
That's-
Wait, I thought that was talked about earlier this
It could have been.
season.
It could have been. I'm not really good
Maybe
on. I'm
it
not
was,
really
but
good
I
on the
guess-
pre-game stuff.
Sometimes I don't pay attention to off the air stuff.
Right.
Sometimes you miss but you know that I hope he pulls through, and I
Yeah.
hope it's a cancer that you can survive. Some you
Oh,
can,
it's a-
some you can't. Some it goes into remission.
Yeah, no. So I think it's kind of like an exciting time right now for NFL football. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
every game is
and,
good.
and it's been a weird year. It's been really bizarre. I mean, really, it's a shocker that even like everybody but Washington made the playoffs from the NFC East. Really? Wow.
And how did the Commanders not make the playoffs?
I don't
They were
know.
with like 3 games to go. They were ahead of the Giants.
Yeah.
They only
and
had to
then-
win. I think they. Well, I mean, didn't they make the switch back to Carson Wentz?
Well, hold on. The Giants beat them in that second matchup, so that I
Right.
think that started to eliminate them.
That's where the Giants started coming back. That's
Yeah.
the turnaround I was talking about.
Yeah, and then I think they lost. Didn't they lose to Dallas or something?
Right. Yeah.
Right, and you know that continues the trend of see ya. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It's not your year.
Sorry, I had to get something. I'm having
Well,
lunch
I'm
soon,
glad
but-
the Giants don't play in the bracket of the AFC East, where only you might be lucky if 2 teams make it, and if you're that third team, oh, you're effed. Yeah,
AFC is so crowded, it's unbelievable.
yeah.
You know, it's
yeah.
like, and you know, as a Jet fan, you know, it's bad enough to be a Jet fan, but like you see like all these quarterbacks, like every team has a killer quarterback, and you win in this league with a great quarterback.
Well, for your job, you have to be a Jets fan.
Yes, yes.
Right,
Yes,
but,
I get-
but,
yes, I
but,
get what you're saying.
but personally, you're a Giants fan. I know that.
Well, I grew up a Giant fan. I did.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the funny story was, you know, I work in rock and roll. You know, that was my background.
Yeah.
You know, and I was a kind of a jock, which was always kind of like a weird thing because jocks and rock people aren't supposed, you know, you're not supposed to be a jock if you're like a
Well,
rock
they
person.
kind of mixed. There's a point where jocks entered Black Flag shows to beat up the punks, and you know.
Yeah. So
then,
yeah, with Hard and my
then they kind of couldn't deny. Well, we kind of like that song when Henry Rollins joined like TV party. It's a pretty good one. I'm a jock, right? So then you kind of have the jocks crowd. They're showing up every week. Eventually, they're not going to be beating up the punks. But yeah, this is pretty good, man. Right. I got
Yeah,
a six
so-
pack. Yeah, that's right.
So I was like, you know, I was a Giant fan growing up, and you know, I remember like how like the really dark days was when I started watching them. You know, when Joe
Yeah.
Pisarcik and the fumble and Herm Edwards running it back for a touchdown. I mean, I still remember that as like an 8-year-old. You know, like
What was that like the 70s?
Yeah, that's like 76, maybe 77. I don't know my years real well.
I was born in 77, so
Yeah.
the only Giants I really know outside of the films are Parcells Giants.
Yeah, so that was the time when the league installed the GM, George Young. George Young was their GM in the comeback years with, and the first thing he did was bring in Parcells.
Right.
But basically, the league said, "You can't run your own team. You need our help." And they gave him George Young, and that's basically every GM kind of comes out of that tree.
Right.
That
Okay.
same
Ask
tree.
the 2 watching. Anybody want the link? I don't think they want it so far. No, they haven't answered. So yeah.
Well, here's a question about the Giants, though. I mean, regardless of what happens, do you bring back Daniel Jones?
Yeah,
I think
you
Daniel
do.
Jones is good.
I think Daniel Jones is a top 15 quarterback. I'll step out and say that because he's got no tools.
Mm-hmm.
He has to make all his plays. Half his plays are like rutting.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of respect. I remember all the Giant fans really down on picking him, but I just think he kind of is a Manning. He has that kind of style. He reminds me of Eli Manning.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why probably they took him because there's a lot of Eli Manning in Daniel Jones.
Kind of like he's kind of like if there was a fourth Manning, or imagine if Cooper Manning was a quarterback, even though he's the oldest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good on TV. I've seen him in commercials and
the commercials. Yeah.
He
He probably has more money than those guys because isn't he the manager? Doesn't he manage their buddy?
Maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
Oh, he runs his own thing on ESPN. I saw online. I think Soup with Coop or something like that.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. One thing I want to give props to all the Giant fans is was it Dave Gettleman? Was that his name? First name Dave? Yeah. Trashed for all his picks. But yet, look who's on that team. He traded for Leonard Williams. He drafted Lawrence. He drafted Saquon. He drafted Jones, Julian Love. All these guys, they're all his players. So it's really funny to look back on that. You see he got run out of town.
Yeah.
But yet, you can't deny what he did there.
Oh, don't forget Evan Ingram used to be on that team too, and now look what happened. He helped the Jaguars win.
But you know what? He dropped a bunch of easy passes again in that game. That's what was always the problem with Evan Ingram, right?
Yep.
It was like he was a receiving tight end who would drop the ball. It was like he wasn't a blocking tight end; he was a receiving tight end, but he would drop the ball all the time. So
anybody that begins to watch over the next 20 minutes from YouTube, I dropped the StreamYard link. That's right. So anybody can come up if you want to talk football. If not, I don't have to let you up. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very excited about this next couple of weeks. I just think that football's on an ascent.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an Eagles fan, but that game should be interesting no matter what. And let's say it could come down to the wire. You don't know. It could be let's say Tom Brady fails and Cowboys win, and now they're playing the Eagles. That could be interesting.
That could be really interesting. I mean, all the combinations.
Brady's in, and now it's Brady against Jalen Hurts. That could be interesting also. Old man versus new kid. Yeah, potential VIP, they're saying, for Mr. Hurts. So,
well,
let's see what's happening with that and how well he does against Brady or anybody else that shows up.
Here's another thing, too, to think about. When you have, those teams, hopefully we won't have another situation like we did with DeMar Hamlin, but I can't help but think what would happen if the Cowboys lose, which is possible.
Right. It definitely is. And, and also San Francisco possibly versus the Giants or Minnesota. That could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the game? I'm sorry. I don't have any notes in front of me, but what's the Monday night game?
Tampa Bay Cowboys.
Oh, that's the Tampa Bay Cowboys game. That's as I said, I have the Cowboys in that game, but it's kind of hard to root against the greatest quarterback in the history of this league.
That's true, but
I mean, he didn't retire after winning a championship with another team.
That's all true.
This idea of he ending up somewhere else. I've heard a few interesting ones. One of you guys said the Raiders for next year.
I want to announce we now have three people watching on the YouTube side.
Oh, it's better than
and
zero.
Probably a couple watching on the Facebook. So
Yeah.
YouTube is not chatting, but they don't need to. It's all right.
I think that there's also the big rumor of Brady going back to his hometown of San Francisco.
Oh, so San Francisco is going to require him probably as a guy to teach the new quarterback a few things. That's probably it. So he should know that what he's walking into pretty much.
Or they have them sit around and watch him.
Yeah, they could do that for like part of the year, and then it's like, sorry, Tom, we love you. You failed. He's going to step in because you lost a couple games. Sorry, buddy. He's going to step in, and then maybe we make the playoffs. We'll definitely use you. There's probably that edge.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There's the guy's work ethic, I mean, we all know about it. We've all read about it, but
that's why he's 45 right now and playing. He's going to be the only quarterback that's able to almost be 50 and still playing.
There's this incredible story that Taylor Henneke tells. Yeah. That Taylor Henneke was a undrafted free agent from Old Dominion with the Patriots. He was like the 4th or 5th quarterback on the roster. And he wanted to get the upper hand, so practice started at 7, so he started showing up at 5:30.
Yeah,
and Brady was already there.
Of course, Brady was probably there at 4:30.
Right, and he said he kept moving it back earlier, and Brady was still there.
Brady got up at 4, had like coffee and a biscuit, got right there and said, "I'll have a small breakfast."
Yeah,
and maybe like an egg, right? Like one egg, and then he's off. That's breakfast. And then he starts the workout. Boom.
Right.
And he's got that. He's also got that lunch at like noon after all the preparation to practice. All right, let's have lunch. And then they have a lunch, right?
He's also got that thing that Michael Jordan had, which is you create enemies in your mind.
Right.
You
just like you create your own enemy, like Iron Man 3. You saw he created that guy. That guy fought Iron Man. Well, Tony Stark was a cool guy. Then you learn, nope, that guy's kind of a dick. Right. It's just glad he's a good guy. We're all glad he's a good guy, right? And he created the enemies. So you create enemies in your mind. Good. Then that'll keep you going for it. Extra.
So what year was he drafted? Would that be like 98 or something? What was the year that that Mo Lewis knocked Drew Henson out of the league and entered the Brady generation?
I don't know. Wasn't it like
2001? Is it 2000? But
probably 99, 2000, something like that.
Right. So he's still Tom Brady's still going back in his mind, thinking about what team didn't draft him or screwed him over.
Yeah.
That's how he operates.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really like. And then you compare it to like Kyler Murray, who you have to write in his contract that he has to work hard.
Yeah. What happened to the other Steven? I don't know.
Oh, we had to drop out.
Yeah.
We can handle this.
That's right.
I think that this is already started. The first 2 games were really exciting yesterday. I think we got 3 games this week, which are today, which are all exciting. I think anytime to watch Miami get crushed, I look forward to that.
And hey, it's a team from our state.
That's right. Yeah.
Technically, the only one that plays in actually New York. Sure, the other 2 are affiliated with New York because.
And what's up with that? I mean, I understand the Giants.
You know what I heard. There's talks in the world that the Jets might get their own stadium somewhere in the world of New York City. I've heard.
Right. Yeah. So the rumor. Well, so I don't know if everyone knows this, but about 10 years ago, it was about 10 years ago that they opened the new stadium in the Meadowlands, the rebuilt one.
I think it was maybe less than that.
Okay. So the Jets were trying to build a stadium at Pier 40. On the west side of Manhattan. And it was all set to go. And Charles Dolan, the creep who owns the Knicks and the Rangers, got all his political allies to put the kibosh on it. But could you imagine like an 80,000?
What a jerk, right?
Yeah. Could you imagine an 80,000 seat stadium? You go see like Bruce Springsteen down there.
I'm saying this is normal radio, so I'm not going to use the AH word. He's saying that. He's being a jerk. That's a clean version of saying what we all know I want to say.
Yeah. No, I could
Of
go
course
on a
he's
long
gonna-
diatribe. I could go
I
on a
don't
long
think
diatribe.
anybody could get political and put the garbage if they get a new plan.
Yeah.
They took the Nets over there. Why not take the Jets? They already have
Mhm.
the New York name. They're the New York Jets.
Mhm.
And the Giants.
And also,
can keep-
let's be really fair. Their fan base, the team is located in it's Central Jersey, but like a lot of New Yorkers would probably call that almost South Jersey.
Right.
And it's like not connected to the fan base at all. The fan base is Long Island and Queens.
Right. And really, let's face it, mostly the people that say, I'm going to MetLife Stadium to see a game. Oh, you're seeing the Giants, right? That's pretty much Giants Stadium. It used to be called that too when it
Yeah.
was the original. So the Jets are kind of like the neighbors sharing it. Like,
Yeah.
why don't you get out of here? That's what I think most New Yorkers are telling them.
Their
Like-
fan base, if they put a team, if they like they've been talking about the last rumor I heard is, well, first of all, Woody Johnson has to go along with this, which I don't see it at all.
True.
But if for some reason he had someone like did a 180, that team would be basically somewhere near where the Mets play. It would be somewhere like out there somewhere, because that's basically where you start the fan base. There are people who are so beat down who've been driving from like Suffolk County at the tip of Long Island.
What was it like the Jets of subject of affecting somebody's life on Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it was. Yeah. I think it was last season where.
Yeah, that was a classic line because
Right,
Gary,
right.
Larry David really is a fan.
Right,
I mean,
right.
he's like,
And his friend kills himself because he can't take all the disappointment of the Jets. Not the Jets again. Right. And it's affecting him, right? And then like Larry tries to get with the widow after the wedding, right?
Yep.
After the funeral, I mean. And she goes, "You're bringing the Jets up again, really?" Right. And that's improv. That's just like the gut reaction right there. That was, you can't write that. That's
No.
real.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah.
there are so many like despondent Jet fans all around the country. You know, if they did win one, it would just, you wouldn't believe what you would see.
Well, it's early that at some point he was he played it. He's a Giants fan. That was early on in the show because he's from New York and maybe he didn't want to piss off the Giants fans because there were probably some Jet hating Giants fans like,
plenty.
Oh, this guy's a Jets fan. I love Seinfeld. Screw this show. Right. There's probably a group of people that are going to do that. That's why I think he played it early. That he wrote that he like, I'll just show the world that I like football and I might be a Giants fan, right? And then Giants fans won't be pissed off that he's a Jets fan, and then he can just reveal it in later seasons, right?
It's amazing. It's like as a Jet fan, I sit here and I'm like, okay. I went in, my prediction, and I could show it to you, was that the Jets were going to win 6 to 8 games and not make the playoffs.
Well, they won 7.
Right.
Yeah.
But
they won only one more game.
Right. But if you win 6 or 7, you have to get into the playoffs. I mean, if if you're like 6-3 and 7-4, you've totally jumped the shark. So at that point, you got to make the playoffs. So that's why
maybe
this was such a
get 8 or 9
catastrophe.
wins if you're if you're not in the AFC East, and they are.
Yeah.
You might be able to play up like the Bucks if your division is crap and theirs is. Yeah. But
I did enjoy watching Geno Smith blow that game yesterday.
Yeah.
Because again, Geno Smith, I don't care like how many touchdowns he throws. He's another player who's always going to he's always going to mess up.
Yeah.
He's just really like, you just know that he's going to fumble the ball sometime or just make the bonehead interception. So, but I'm sitting around watching like, okay, the Giants, like how many ex-Jets are on this roster right now? It's like Leonard Williams and I have to think about it all. Jason Pinnock, all these guys, Lawrence Cager, like all these guys, these were like These were guys on the roster this spring.
I'll mention something that I made with the president. It's a bet. Most people watching this and will be watching this know about this. I owed them dinner from years ago. This whole crew, even guys that aren't part of the network anymore, right? So like, let's go double or nothing. I lose, I'll definitely pay up. So I think double or nothing. I had to wear like makeup and a dress and a wig during this. Or the bet was Giants have a better record than the Jets. Or he owes me dinner with a former or a rookie that's current, or he knows Stern, so somebody on his staff. So he's like, all right, in the summertime, I'll get you Jason Seahorse. And I'm like, that is amazing because he played with Manning. So that is right there amazing.
What a great player he was.
And he could sign my championship hat. Yeah.
No, that's classic stuff. I mean,
I met David Deal and a couple other guys at a signing because they're not like Manning. Manning would get mobbed if he went to one because he's Eli Manning. I mean, Strahan would too because they now do other things. They're more well known.
David Deal's become a really good announcer. I have to say that.
Oh, I have to go check out where does he announce?
Yeah, he's on WFAN. He does the Giant pregame.
Oh, you mean the FAM, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't listened to FAM for like over a year because I listen to this network a lot. So I will have to go listen to multiple networks from now on.
Yeah,
because I met that guy and that guy was a great player.
Yeah. No, there's some great stuff here. So I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about in closing? Is there any thing?
You can give your final thoughts. I'll give mine. I guess the other Steven left, but that's all right. We soldier on, boats upon the current, like the Great Gatsby. We keep on going, right?
That's right.
I mean, I haven't read that book, but one day I gotta read that book. But the movie has the same passage at the end of it.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that. Well, that's football. You're not exactly reinventing the wheel, right? It's just like it's still the game. Just people try to change it and stuff. I mean, unless there's like some really bad refereeing or there's been a lot of complaints about that in the past couple of weeks you're hearing about. But I think the refs are really in an impossible situation because they see stuff with their eyes and then they have to have their decision taken away by somebody like in an office in New York watching it with like 4 cameras. Right. True. So it's you're going to have more mistakes by the refs if you're going to keep overturning them. It's like you're taking away their power, so they're not so they're not like hitting it on all cylinders. But I'm really excited about this season. I see with this exciting Jaguars win. There's a lot of teams all of a sudden like open to go all the way. And that's why don't discount the New York Giants.
And don't discount anybody that you're like, well, I don't know if they're going to go far. And you never know, the Cowboys might make the second round, but I don't see them. They're going to miss the conference most likely again, like they have for 28 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Bills are definitely going to win today. For those that are Dolphin fans that eventually watch this replay, no, I'm sorry, it's not happening for you. I guess that's my final thought. Yeah, and
here's the other thing about Buffalo. Like, we're saying, okay, well, maybe Buffalo's going to. The late game is is the Bucs game.
No, that's Monday.
Oh, that's Monday. So the late game. No, we talked about it already. It was. I'm sorry, everyone. I don't have this on my. On my. Yeah, I don't really know. Okay. But I'm really just locked in on the 4:30 game. I think the 4:30 game with the Giants in Minnesota is
pretty weekend schedule. Wildcard weekend. Okay, game dates and times.
Do I have to go look for this?
I'm looking for it right now. Maybe. It's not giving me the right stuff. Yeah,
But
there's more.
there's so many.
Yeah, who nothing. It's not giving me the right stuff. Still not finding it.
The game is the 4:30. The 8:15 game is Ravens Bengals.
Okay, Ravens Bengals. Definitely Bengals are gonna win that. Oh yeah, all the way.
Yeah.
You might be right on them going all the way. Other people have said that online. I think even a famous musician said that. I forget who. On a non-football note, did you see that Ice-T is wrestling?
No, I think I want to see that though.
Yeah, I saw a clip of it. He said, "You mother effers," because I'm not gonna say the whole thing, but he phrased it like without saying the full word. Right, to abbreviate, you motherfuckers don't know about my side hustle, and you see him all like wrestler like, and you see him with no shirt on, like he takes his shirt off. Then you see him on the ring wrestling a dude in the clip. It's great.
I saw a clip yesterday of Vinny Stigma wrestling.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
If like wrestling is getting big, even like you got like actors and musicians, like musicians that are actors.
Vinny Stigma, for those who don't know, the guitar player of the great Agnostic Front, New York hardcore band.
Also, he has his own solo band.
That's right. Yeah.
that's
So
right.
one of the great characters of the punk rock underground, no doubt.
Yeah.
So
and of course, Ice-T, everybody knows he is. He had his rap thing. His body count. Of course, he has Law and Order. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great stuff.
My dad is a major Law and Order fan.
Yeah. So hey, I got to go right now. It's been an hour.
All right. Thank you, anybody like Jeff and Snug, and I hope you like what you see, Errol, and anybody else from the network that watches it, like Speedy Petey. I hope you see what you like and get back to me in a few days. I'll give you a few because it's a big decision. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Well, thanks for having me. I'm
I
glad
hope
I
you
could
consider
contribute.
this, and definitely, if you say the host is, Blush is the host. He's the guy with all the knowledge. He works for the Jets, so he's the host. So there you go.
So here we go.
Booney is on a break, so sorry he couldn't make it.
Yeah,
he's been on break from doing his YouTubes anyways for more than a month. So I know lots of YouTube people, they do that. They take breaks. So you pick it up. Booney may join at some point during this playoff run. Or definitely, even if I'm talking about baseball a bit, did you see that 7th game with the Bruins and the Capitalists? Oh, man, it was a good 7th game. So I watched the 7th game in the hockey playoffs. So he'll definitely want to talk about that. And he'll be definitely done with his break by playoff hockey. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's Canadian, so they love talking about hockey. Oh, yeah.
I'm sure. Oh, by the way, last thing on the Bills. The Bills have never won the Super Bowl, ever. Why can't that streak continue?
It should, but, they will have to win. I think they should be able to win one day. I mean, I try and have hope for all teams since I'm now a professional and I can't be biased.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. It's got to end one day. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for having me. I've overdone my stay, but I really had a great hour with you. Yes.
All right. If we are picked up, I'll see you next week, hopefully.
Okay.
And then I'll need a drop and a logo, and hopefully we'll have a producer and the phones.
Okay. Well, we know how that stuff all works. So you just be in touch. I really had a good time.
Thank you, Steven. And I'm going to end it. All right. It's recorded, so it'll be on their network for the president and anybody else who wants. I hope all people that work for the network like what they see, especially you, Errol Marks. It's been wonderful. Thank you for the chance. Thank you for joining me. All right.
Yeah, you got it. Take care.
Yep. All right. And now, thank you for the opportunity. And I hope anybody that watches enjoys the content. It's been a thrill. And I got to go exercise and stuff. All right. Enjoy the game too. Well, I'll exercise at some point during it. All right. Peace.